Welcome to the Indie Music Room, a conversation with independent artists about writing, recording, performing, and promoting their original music. And now here's your host, Heather Kelly.
Hey everybody, this is Heather, your host of the Indie Music Room. And I'm really excited today. I've got this great, energetic. He's amazing. All of his videos are great. His music's great. His hooks are great. Chord progressions, everything's great. But his name is Brandon Bing, and he has been recording in Nashville for a while now. But what I'm going to do today, a little bit different than in the past, we're going to go ahead and get right into the first song of his called Set Me Free. And when we come back, you guys will be introduced to Brandon and we'll hear all about his story. All right, here's Set Me Free, Brandon Bing.
To do a midnight thing, got a fist full of pills rocking in this tire swing. Should I choke and drown on this riverbank or just drink my pain away? Empty fifth on a tree stump, broke heart got me shook, left a message in a bottle for you to read. A twice broken heart can't break again, set me free. Violent like a tornado's wind. You dared me once, fooled me twice. Opened up the door to let you in my life. Wrap me up like kryptonite. Unchain my heart and set me free tonight. On the wall, I burst downstairs through the window of my soul, and I can't take this anymore. Grab another bottle, no, I'll grab my gun, pull the trigger in this trip around the sun. Ish, I thought we were done. Violent like a tornado's wind. You dared me once, fooled me twice. Opened up the door to let you in my life. Wrap me up like kryptonite. Unchain my heart and set me free tonight.
That was Set Me Free. So you guys can kind of understand why I'm so excited to have this artist on today. He's making quite a ruckus around in the music industry because he's doing so great, but you're going to love him. Great guy, great energy. Mr. Brandon Bing, welcome to the Indie Music Room. How are you doing today?
Doing good, Heather. Appreciate you having me on this afternoon.
I appreciate you taking the time. So why don't you, I'm sure your career is 30, whatever, how many years in the making, I'm not quite sure. But why don't you tell everybody a little bit about how you got in the business? And
Yeah,
we'll go from there.
sure. Yeah. So, I'm from North Florida and, I've done music since I was about 6, 7 years old. I originally started in school, we had to choose either between violin or cello. So I started playing cello. And then, after that, then I was able to get into like concert band once I got into like regular grade school and started playing drums. Did that for about, 7, 8 years. And then I also played in church band. We were in choir. And then I
Yeah.
also did the praise band for around the church evening
Mhm.
service, and then also like we had the youth group. So it was always cool to just I was always around music, in every facet of my life. And then also my dad, he exposed me to a lot of music. He has a ridiculous vinyl collection, and so over the years, growing up in the '90s and early 2000s, it gave me a lot of perspective. I grew up on a lot of the grunge and the alternative, like, metal bands and stuff. And then also we had like the hip hop and the 2090s country. So
Yeah.
I had so many different influences, and it was just such a fun kind of period. You know what I mean?
Was your dad a musician too, or just had a real
No,
eclectic taste?
that's funny. Actually, I don't know how musically inclined. I mean, I heard through the grapevine that he used to sing back in the day, but I've, I've yet to really see that. But, over this last year, I really took a deep dive into my catalog, into the music that's unreleased that I have that's, in the vault and, where I'm headed, in 2025 and beyond. And I was like, I've spent a lot of time really building organic fan base, and I've really spent a lot of time being
Yeah.
intentional, not just through my music, but also through communicating with the fans and trying to build that relationship.
Something must be going right because you have over 800,000 streams on Spotify.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you tell me a little bit? We're going to listen to, let's do Rat Race because I really like the third one for last because
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
that's a good
I
one.
already know
Tell me
that's
a
coming.
little bit about Rat.
That's the hammer.
Yeah, tell me about Rat Race.
Unfortunately, at an early age, from my teens through my 20s, that I lost from bouts with addiction.
Yeah.
Methamphetamines are big down in Florida, cocaine, a lot of those different things with fentanyl. All these different things, these drugs. Florida's a gateway because of the water on the Atlantic and the Gulf
Of course.
and all the roadways. And there's just a big mix, a pot of people.
Yeah.
So you just never know who to trust. And when I did Rat Race, I was just like, man, like we're always about having a good time, but we're never satisfied. We're always like in that rat race. We're always trying to just get to the next day. Like you're just trying to get to the next day. And I had so many buddies that would live week to week, paycheck by paycheck, or all these different negative situations in their family dynamics that they had to go through. And I wanted to have a song that was going to resonate to my people, and that's what the rat race was. And I just took certain experiences that I saw of things that I had been around, just like in opening line, single wife full of booze walks away from the crowded room. That
Yeah.
whole idea of stumbling back and forth down the hallway, dollar bill and 8 ball of cocaine, like that image is just so it's like ingrained in your head. And it's like I think so many
Yeah.
people can connect with that,
Oh, I think
where
it's,
they're just like, there's so many people that don't talk about these things, Heather. Not because
yeah,
I think it's because they don't know how to talk about them, or
right.
they still have so much pain from losing someone so close to them, and they think nobody wants to hear it, or they don't know, like they don't want to be judged. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I do.
like screw being judged. Like at the end of the day, this is our life. So I feel like my purpose through this music is to tell these stories like Rat Race
Yeah.
and connect with people through my live performances, through my content, my merch, and everything else I do, to be that voice for the people that the misunderstood to be understood.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I love the diversity and I love the story behind it. So let's go ahead and show you're going to have a bunch of new fans after this. Let's show everybody what we're talking about here with Rat Race again by Brandon Bing. We'll be right with you.
You having a good time?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I can't wait for that party tonight though.
Me either.
Hell yeah. Woo! Man, that's good stuff right there. Hey, bartender, can I get 2 more shots of those Bang Tails this way? Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. All right.
What the hell was that all about?
Don't even worry about it. Hey, let's get out of here.
Single wide, full of booze, walks away from a crowded room, stumbling back and forth down the hallway, dollar bill and an 8-ball of cocaine. His brain starts shift into a different state, living his life like a rat race. Don't know what road to take. One wrong turn at the blink of an eye changed his fate. Dirty blonde and some crystal blues, hands bound in bright red blue, horn honking swerving down a 2-lane, lost control, lipstick smeared on his face. His brain starts shift into a different state, living his life like a rat race. Don't know what road to take. One wrong turn at the blink of an eye changed his fate. He feels the car roll off the paved road into a tree. He sees the glass break and hears the scream that she makes. All is gone down the hole from this disaster. The touch he makes from the blood on her face makes him instant sober. Red and blue, shaking in his boots. 6-8 cell, he's through. Manslaughter, 15 in a state pen. Scarred for life, can't forgive his sins. His brain starts shift into a different state, living his life like a rat race. Don't know what road to take. One wrong turn at the blink of an eye changed his fate. One wrong turn at the blink of an eye changed his fate.
Everybody, you're gonna have to start checking this guy out because this is just a little bit of his whole catalog of things online. I mean, I spent all day yesterday just on loop, listening to everything you have out there. I mean, what is this? Your third album?
No, this is I have one album out, but I have two EPs.
Right.
So
Okay.
I did my first, where it all started. I did a single back in 2019, Sunday Fun Day.
Yeah.
Then I did the Florida Man EP, that was like a little taste test to let people kind of get my feet wet and
Hmm.
show them that world it came from. And then after Florida Man in 2020, I did the Dying Breed EP, and that allowed me to start
Yeah.
breaking open the shell and just being a little bit more rawer. I didn't want to. It's not that I couldn't do that first thing for my music. It was like I wanted to like kind of ease people in, and when you're
Hmm.
also building a fan base. I'm a businessman at the end of the day. So as an entrepreneur, it's like you don't want to do something premature. you know, It'd be one thing if you were George Strait and you can go out there, put a song out, and then re-release it, or Taylor Swift and re-release it, and everybody's going to be all over it. But when
Yeah,
you're new and you're trying to break through it and build, credibility, you have to be really strategic with what you're putting out. And then
absolutely.
I did that Huckleberry album, and then in 2022, and then 23, I did Party in the Pines, and then um and Rat Race, and then 24, I put out Burnout at both ends and um To the Bone. And then this year, we're gonna knock the hinges off. I started with Set Me Free as we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
ready for the year. And then after this, it's just gonna be full throttle to the end.
Uh-huh. I can't wait for the last song that we're going to show them, but I've got some
Yeah.
heat to talk about before that. So you are not just, I mean, you hit on this a little bit. You're very entrepreneurial. You've got the, solar company or that
Yep.
venture. But what I want to ask about is Bangtail whiskey. Your brand of
Oh yeah.
whiskey, dude. I gotta hear about this.
Oh yeah.
I'll have
I'm
to
just gonna
try it.
I'm gonna show you a bottle. Hold
Yes, I want to see it. I want to see it.
on.
I wish we had like Taste-O-Meter through the Zoom call.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So we got a little
Ooh,
bang
that's
to
a beauty. Ooh, pull it back right there. That's a beauty.
Oh,
Oh
little
my
Church of
gosh.
Heathens. Yeah.
Heather, see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So boom. Yeah. That's
Tell me,
that's the
tell me
bang tail
about it. What
deal.
inspired that whole thing? That, to come about.
Yeah. So I've always been a big whiskey bourbon connoisseur. My mom's from Kentucky. And so, obviously that's like bourbon capital,
Yeah,
when it comes down to that. And so I was a big Eddie and Jimmy Russell fan. They're the master distillers of Wild Turkey.
yeah,
And, I loved Wild Turkey. And so one of my buddies, Chris, back earlier on when I started like really putting music out in the first year, he was like, hey, he was like, you know what? You need something like that people really get to connect with you on product wise. And he's like, what's your favorite? I said, man, I love my whiskey and bourbon.
yeah,
So then I got connected, started building the recipe. My mom had like some old batches of old moonshine that they had that she still
yeah.
had from like my great grandma and uncle and all them. And so
Uh-huh.
I tasted on that, and I looked at different bourbons and stuff that I like the flavor notes, and then I just started crafting it, and I came up with the Bangtail. It's a 90 proof premium. It's a Florida sweet corn.
Yeah.
It's locally sourced. It's got a #3 American white oak with a 3 char. It's a little smoky, and
Oh,
it's
yummy.
got a little vanilla tail to it, and it's just good. I wanted something that people can get a hot proof,
Yeah.
but could not have to have a chaser.
Yeah.
I like drinking it neat or on the rocks. And yeah, we're just gonna have a lot of fun this year.
Yes, I just want to thank you for taking the time and visiting with me today, Brandon, and we'll be in touch. Everybody, please go to his sites and make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss anything on the mailing list, a new release, or even perhaps he's playing in your area. So with that said, everybody, thank you for listening to the Indie Music Room, and I'll be with you in a couple weeks. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, thanks, Heather. You have a good one.
Okay.
I love you, I hate you. Can't go through this shit anymore. Why can't I let you go? Trying to push you out that damn door. Got me hanging by a thread. Little tug of war. You drive me crazy, tearing up my heart and soul. Piece by piece you keep
You've been listening to the Indie Music Room with Heather Kelly. Be sure to listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on FortDodgeRadio.com and subscribe for all our past and upcoming shows. The Indie Music Room is a production of FortDodgeRadio.com.